Shalom to David Bedein, Director of Bedein Center for Near East Policy Research.
Good morning.
We're familiar with your struggle against UNRWA in terms of what we see in the Palestinian school books. And tomorrow evening, you're taking this step forward and you're briefing staff members of the Congress and the Senate. Tell us about that.
Well, this is very important. Most people think that the President of the United States just said we're going to renew funding to UNRWA and renew funding to the Palestinian Authority, and then it happened. It hasn't happened yet. There is a democratic process in the United States and in the other Western countries where there's been a suggestion to add on to the funds for UNRWA, and it hasn't happened yet. And what we're going to say, we're going to show school books, like the picture you see right over here. This is Dalal al-Mughrabi, featured in a fourth grade school book. She conducted the massacre of 38 people on a bus in 1978, and she's in the new school book of the Palestinian Authority used by UNRWA, is pictured as a hero.
Now, you've been shouting this out for years. First of all, what did UNRWA say?
UNRWA doesn't want to speak to us. UNRWA says there's no problem, this is a national hero, so what do you care?
What did they say? They don't want to interfere?
They don't want to interfere with, and they said this has been approved by everyone. Now, it has been approved by the donor nations who have never seen the school books. So what we have done, our center, Bedein Center for Near East Policy Research, we've created a special website to show them all of the school books, and without any exception. If we'd found one of the 1,000 books we've gone through, which promoted peace or understanding of the other, which is what's a UN school is supposed to do, we would publicize it. But we haven't found that. Quite the opposite. What's happened in the last 4 years has been a deterioration in the school books and in the education. That the role models like this are being shown, and also children singing songs about exterminating the Jews. Now, there's no way, shape, or form that any Western nation would approve this if they're given the opportunity to. Now, I'm calling on American citizens and other citizens of the countries that donate to UNRWA to say, okay, wait a second, you're donating to UNRWA, you can't take candy away from a baby. What you can do is to condition the funds that, number one, this kind of education stop, and that the UNRWA camps be disarmed.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that. You're saying that the missiles and the rockets being fired, many of them are being fired from UNRWA?
82% of Gaza is UNRWA. And where they store their guns, where they store their missiles, is right in the UNRWA camps. No one will deny it. And
this is the United Nations. How could that be happening?
Because the United Nations has handed over the authority. We have met. Our agency has met 6 times with the Office of the Secretary General of the United Nations, and he's as shocked as we are because he doesn't get the reports from UNRWA. They keep it to themselves. And he has to depend on the donor nations who are supposed to oversee the UNRWA schools, and they don't do it. So in other words, you have school books, you have a whole generation which has been educated, and not only education and incitement, but indoctrinated to a war against the Jews. Not only war against the Israelis, war against the Jews and the Zionists. And what's very important to understand, they talk about the Nakba, representing what happened in 1948. The concept of Nakba was invented by UNRWA activists in 1998.
Why? What does that come from?
To instill a patriotism for the homes and villages they came from. The only source,
why would UNRWA do that? Because if you do that, then that justifies its existence.
Not only that, but it gives them a reason to exist in the refugee camps for another 72 years, because you're there temporarily until you go back to your homes in 48, which of course are waiting for you. We have documented that in the UNRWA camp in Jabalia in Gaza, the children all have maps of Ashkelon, and they expect to go back there when they're in decrepit conditions with outhouses and the whole business. You'll get a toilet when you get back to Ashkelon. And when they're firing on Ashkelon, it isn't a happenstance thing. They know exactly where they're firing. They know what they're doing, and when they fire the missiles, they sing a song. This is to get our homes. And what we have also filmed, using Arab crews who are available and happy to do so, the marches to the fence in Gaza, where they think that eventually they're going to break through and take back their homes in Sderot, in Beersheba, in Ashkelon and Ashdod, and in Jaffa. What just happened in Jaffa? What happened in Jaffa was incited by UNRWA, because the people in many of the UNRWA camps come from Jaffa, and they mean to take it back. So I'm giving a public call now to the donor nations, and they're all listed on our site, IsraelBehindTheNews.com, and also UNRWA-Monitor.com. All the donor nations, disarm those camps. You have a responsibility. You're bringing in all these humanitarian funds, most of which are not supervised, and they're being used obviously for weapons and for and we have filmed. And we're going to show you a short film now also of the children going through military training. You have to be 9 years old, by the way, to go through the military training in the UNRWA camps. Very important, with live weapons, the whole business. So we understand what we're facing here. Now, this has nothing to do with any.
They're teaching them to shoot and to use firearms in the UNRWA camp. How do they justify that?
So long as they're 9 years old.
How do they justify that?
From their point of view, they're trying to get their homes back. But then again,
no. How does UNRWA justify that?
They don't answer they don't answer those questions. But the question is, how do the donor nations? You see, UNRWA is not going to answer. But the donor nations have to answer. And what happened in the previous U.S. administration, the previous U.S. administration, for the first time, we've been working on this for all these years since 1987. For the first time, started asking questions, and when they didn't get any substantive answers, they cut them off, and that's what the Trump administration did. And this is not only a pro-Israel issue. This is also an issue of the issue of child soldiers is an international issue of those who are put in military uniforms when they're 9, 10, 12 years old, and that is a war crime in itself. The war crimes committed by UNRWA, by allowing children and encouraging children to be armed in their summer camps. And they're getting ready for them every year at the beginning of May. They begin the arms training so that they'll be ready for the summer camps in July.
Okay, and you're saying that now there's an opportunity tomorrow evening, a special briefing with American representatives.
That's correct.
David Bedein.
And we have, by the way, if anyone wants to witness the Zoom, we're advertising it on our site tonight. UNRWA-Monitor.com. You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to watch it. And we hope we're going to be doing these briefings also for Germany, Sweden, England, and Canada, because these are major donors, and they're kept in the dark. The word they use is, we have rigorous supervision. There is no rigorous supervision of any kind. All there is an indoctrination. Take your homes back by force of arms and fight the Jews.
Okay, David Bedein, Director of Bedein Center for Near East Policy Research. Thank you very much.
Thank you.